So, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to this event that we are hosting today. I thank you for being there. And today I'm going to discuss a few things. But let me say before I start, it is really a singular honor to have hosted this program. I feel like it is part of me now. I'm really looking forward to enhance this agenda and ensure I'm doing it best of my ability and having solutions to everything that probably is facing our country and most importantly what we are facing as the youth. And so to speak, we have lots of things that we need to do as a community. And most importantly, we are trying to figure out what we can do more and more to achieve all that we wish to do. Basically, society gives us a few things that we need to do, but it does not show us what we need to do unless you work out things that you want to do. You ensure that you're doing it genuinely and pointedly with passion. Today I sit here as a passionate young leader who is willing to stop at nothing but to advocate for our rights and our voices to be heard. Genuinely, we have a lot of things that we need to do, a lot of things that we need to put forward, and we really need to advance this space. As the youth, we should be the panacea of hope to our families, to our friends, and everyone who is close the border, missing or lacking something, missing a voice to be heard. Generally we have a lot of people who wish to be heard, but their voices are so limited, they are held very low, and they cannot have a chance to share clearly of what they have in mind. So before I go further, I would wish to say this. As a brand who is coming up, developing capacities for myself, for folks outside there, and even for those surrounding me, it is part of us now that we really need to advance, not as an individual, but as a group. And this thought has always closed my mind again and again, that we need youths who are willing to focus and give their life. When you give your life to community work, you give your work to advocacy, give your work to fighting for the rule of law, you give your work to be counted in the constituency you come from, the region you come from, or maybe depending on where do you want your stake to be higher. For instance, probably you want your card to be heard, to be seen. You want your voice to be heard. You want to be seen doing something. And then there is an idea of the youth being in action. We need to make it alive. And when we make our hope alive, we are opening ways to achieve maximum goals and plans that we have in future. So as the youth, I really urge us to work very closely. Let me say, teamwork is a force to reckon with, and across teamwork also we have a few spirits that we need to really measure and they are going to impact our families way much than we believe. This is to start with, the genuineness of the nature that we are in, and building a society of transformational dimensions. And we have to get started now, because all we have to do is to make everyone understand that this is the way to go, this is what we should do, this is exactly what a society needs to do to advance further and further and get our goals set. Firstly, I wish to say we really need to get far, and many promises come. When is our time? When should we put this into action? When should we make a certain undertaking? When should we strategize to make youth empowerment work efficiently, successfully, and have robust discussions to spearhead all this forward? So genuinely, I want to tell you today, our time is not tomorrow, as they say, as we are told that we are future leaders, that we are the leaders of tomorrow. Actually, that tomorrow is today. And youth leadership is now something to reckon with, as I mentioned earlier. You find that close to 68% is youthful population, and almost 80% is a youthful population in the world, in the globe. So you see how it is impactful that if we have to be involved. Actually, we need to be involved in everything that is being done, probably from decision-making tables, the round tables that our leaders sit and talk matters years to come. Those years to come are within ourselves. These are years that we are going to maybe reach. And when someone sets a score for us, we really need to be there to also maybe tell some other generation, this is what we made and this is what has impacted us in this way, to this length, to this far. And way much more important is to have a youthful engagement that is not biased, let me say. Youths are now skeptical that many of the things that other youth to do does not really count on them. They do not even care what to do and what to follow. And then the youth, as I have mentioned, and as I'll mention, we are driven by these people ahead of us. So our fathers and our forefathers are as well the key aspects of what we are seeing now. If our youth is willing to do something and then there is no support, if our youth sees what the dad is doing, or maybe the grandfather, corruption, people are facing graft. You could see many other contexts of court. And then this kind of cynicism is killing a nation each and every day. And this is like let me say, an acid that has been maybe dropped on something, and it is really killing it each and every time. It consumes it each and every time. So youth life is being consumed by these other issues that we've seen happen before us, issues that have occurred immediately in the context of the youth recognizing and knowing themselves. And then there is all those aspects, of course, which are kept constant, like, let me say, majority of the youth have now advanced to drug abuse. Others have gone to immoralities, they are not upholding their dignity, they are not upgrading on their character, which is way much important than what we believe. You can keep your dignity by protecting your character. And that defines you a lot than even what you believe in. So I wish to advise those who've at some point missed a mark, and those who are willing to improve and change for the better, because this is not the world that we are going to live in. We don't want a world that in 45 years a youth is in a rehabilitation or a rehab and is taking courses how to overcome depression. We really need to do them now. So, in as much as we are sitting, seeing everything is okay, some other things are not okay from our own perspective, and we really need to rise above the beam, see what is wrong, see what is erroneous in our youth life, and then ensure that our youthful life is not brought to waste. I've told you this because, of course, I've interacted with a few youth, a few friends of mine, and some of those I see roam around. Probably there are those who've been consumed by the filth of alcoholism, cheap, illicit blue, cannabis, and there are those who even smoke cigarettes. But still, they don't even understand that in a few years, they are going to face a lot in ensuring they have cancer being treated, liver cirrhosis, the type of effects that these things are causing. And then our youth are now not understanding that there is a level that you need to take alcohol. And so you have to keep your liver on point. You don't have to destroy it so that you can use a lot of funds, a lot of resources in the future once you have a family to maybe lease back what you've saved on your investment for your treatments. Unlike taking the investments to something else close to building a family, rent a house, imagining of how you can build a destiny, improving lives of young men and women around, and focusing on the goodness of the future. So our efforts are not held, and fingers crossed we are going to make this happen. We really have to, because we have no option. And what I mean by we have no option is we have to start now, and we have to put our effort to ensure these things are seen, are heard, and we are real good models of what we believe in. Maybe at some point, say what you mean and mean what you say. Probably what we mean here is whatever that you are saying as a youth. Probably, for instance, I myself, I say, I'm doing this and I'm doing contrary in the opposite angle. So it brings a lot of, let me say, points of no sense, and like sitting, doing something that is close to what you believe, and doing something that is not against your convictions. Let me say, for instance, when you're preaching what people should do, you should be the doctor in it. You should be the practitioner in all that you are telling people to do. And we fail to make these marks once we are given a chance to, because it comes really in a different angle, and then some of us or many of us don't even recognize what we are doing and why. And why are we deviating from our characters that have taken time to yield and to produce good results in our dynamic world and dynamic journeys. So in this world, we are sojourners. And what I mean is we are visitors who need to leave the world more advanced than when we came, or when we started seeing sense, when we started building it up again, and at least ensure in your lifetime you leave a mark. Well, how? Try to leave a mark in your environment. Try to leave a mark in someone's environment. Try to leave a mark in someone's art. Try to leave a mark in your governance, the way you handle yourself, the way you bring up your character, the way you value your dignity, the way you really master self-respect. This is what I feel like the youth are really struggling doing, and really need to set to an angle, say, we really have to protect our dignity, character, and our honor. Let me say the values that we believe in, and which stake do we have. So in realizing this thing, we have to ensure that we understand ourselves. How? Let me just say, you really have to know what you're standing for. For instance, if you're an advocate, you're a diplomat, let me say you're not that diplomatic, you're aggressive, all those characters, personalities that are going to come out melancholic, or all those stuff. When you bring out yourself, you understand yourself, you are out of identity crisis, this is what I stand for, this is what I believe, this is how I want to relate with people. I'm introverted, yes, I'm introverted. What do you have to do for the nation, or for the society, or for the youth you represent? Because your heart really represents many people who are close to you. And whatever that you're doing, someone is looking at you, is copying either of what you're doing, or is trying to make you a role model in their life. So try to act like, of course, yeah, I am a role model. I need to believe in myself, do things the way is expected. Secondly, now after realizing yourself, knowing what you can do, your personality, and then probably is now after understanding yourself, what do you need to, how do you go about discovering much more and more? Because our lives are set in a way we can't understand ourselves unless someone else is understanding, is helping us understand ourselves. So try to also live around with people who can easily tell what you stand for and what you believe in. What are your characters? What are your characters in public, characters in private life? What do you keep in public? What do you keep in private? This is now the values, and this is now the principles that are going to guide you over and over again. So for instance, if you are a public personality, let me say, you really have to come out. Tell people what you do, and there are some things you really need to keep out from telling, because these are things that will keep people from accessing information, and actually they will keep on wishing to know. It could be a sign of suspense that people are trying to realize and explore in their life. And if you're doing something good, indeed many of those who are valuing your values and your character, they are going to emulate from you. They are going to copy from you and move forward with them. And so you can change lives directly or indirectly. From what I've explained, that is indirect. And probably the direct way is to focus on community for change or for organizing. You could be a community organizer, you could be an entrepreneur, you could be an innovator, you could be a youth leader, you could be standing as a picture of what you represent, and people are seeing it right in front of you. Whenever you talk, this is what people pick. Whenever you want to do something, this is what people pick. And so from what people pick is the idea of direct influence on their life, either positively or negatively. Of course, there are those who are going to pick what you've showed them that is positive, and see all those that you do that are negative in order to change their lives. This is how people live. This is how maybe some of us or many of us who are brought up. You find that you like your dad, you like your mom, you like your grandpa, your grandma, and then of course you like them all, but you can't copy paste everything they do and then put them in your life. Meaning, if you have your dad as your role model, you can't copy everything that he does. Probably you have to copy a few things that he does that are positive, the way he handles a family, the way he believes in maybe idealism, positivity, optimism, the way he is on point in leadership as a family. So this is how we develop. And then your grandpa, wisdom, the way he engages you or she engages you in matters that really need a lot of wisdom. And then your grandma, you could see how caring and responsible she could be onto her grandchildren or even great grandchildren. And probably your mom, let me say, the way she's hardworking, she maintains her dignity, self-respect. She's not a lady who will just go to the salon and talk ill of others. She's someone who is valuable, and even the society says, yeah, try to be like this and this. Try to be like someone's mom. Probably you've seen that happen. And once you bring all those characters together, you make a brand of yourself, and you live as peacefully and in a comfy way, knowing that you're making yourself out of something that you've learned. And that is also an indirect or direct way of improving one's life and even others' lives. So from you, people will see a very sophisticated person. And from your sophisticatedness, rather, someone else is going to emulate what you've lived up to, for what you value as maybe caring person, caring brother or sister. And life continues, and you've touched one soul into something else that could change him for the better. The other thing is about, the world is now like a village. And then the world being like a village, you can access anyone, anything, at any point that you want. For instance, you can connect to someone in Australia, someone in Japan, someone in Asia, America, even Europe, even in Africa. How, when you develop this kind of people and you see the way they do things, and then you share with them, they broaden your mind, you explore more of how you think, and then your mind expands a little faster in how you interact. And there are those people who you meet and are going to change your life even for the better. So if you try to do as much as what others believe of you, and also what you believe in yourself, you really are going to make an impact out of your life. So it starts from you, it starts with the ability, it starts with your genuineness and your passion, and even dedication to bring something, and of course, sheer determination. The other thing is about now as a family, I'm talking about the youth, how we've managed to come out and understand that, of course, we can be seen and we can be heard. And this is how we really have to live from our democratic point of view into our citizenship, being a patriotic person or citizen to your country, and avoiding racial discrimination, gender bias, and then you avoid all those gender-based violence, and then you bring out yourself, and you're not tribal, you're not alienated to any everyone comes from a certain tribe, but now to an extent that you're going to show yourself as a person from a different tribe, and then valuing someone from your tribe being in favorism, it brings all those tribal issues that we really see in the public space and even in our lives. So in as much as we relate, let us also understand that as a community, we also have to value other communities. Nothing is inferior. Probably there are some countries which are very small, but they produce a lot towards the achievement of the world at. So let us believe that we are created equal. No one is above than anyone else, apart from what we are doing currently, or even those who are sat on higher hierarchies or rankings. We are also equal, whether you are black or white or Asian or Latin America, African, black African, all those are in one bucket. We are created by one God, created by one Allah, as you believe. And we should also keep that in mind, and that we should be our brothers and sisters keeper. From then we realize that we have no tribal alienations, we have no sense of biasness, nepotism, and all those favorism that we see which in the end terms or equals to corruption. So these issues are going to end to a certain point. All the corruption that we see majorly in our countries and even at a national or international level. And the other thing is democratic rights. Everyone is guided or protected in the Constitution that they have democratic rights, and human rights are not separated from human. So in all that we do is a matter of what we believe in democracy and how we value our democracy and democratic rights. Meaning, if you wish to participate in electing someone, yeah, of course, it is very much possible when you believe in democracy. And it is through our constitution that we get this execution of our rights into action. And I'm saying this because now, as a country, as Kenya, we are close to 50 days to a general election, and it is really impressive and encouraging that the youth have come out in large numbers, registered as voters. And this time round, we're going to vote for a leader who is optimistic, who has ideas for everyone, who has way much abilities of recovering our economy, which has gone down, and someone who is going to fight for our space, fight cynicism, of which the growth of cynicism is relatively increasing each and every day. Similarly, it's about corruption. Corruption being one of the major challenges that our country faces. We really need to focus on how we can generate terms and policies that could help us achieve something there. What do I mean? Achieving something that is way much better than what we believe in right now. It is about bringing up policies that ensures that at some point anyone who is corrupt is actually barred from doing something, or government businesses, or maybe government seats, taking elective seats, positions, and our system need to be upgraded in a way that these people are even barred from receiving further services, because you could see someone who is termed as corrupt in the outside world. Let me say, for instance, in the UK or the United States of America, is barred from entering the country. Once you are corrupt in the face of the nation. So let all those who face such allegations be subjected to scrutiny. I mean, scrutiny is a very strict scrutiny that brings out the results as early as possible, and these people can be taken, action can be taken to them. And let me say, there are some who fail because of the incredulity. Of course, we understand. Some others could be biased, and then we've seen contents of court, things that are bringing our country, falling from the bar. And in as much as we wish to rise to the bar, we really need to do things that are helping in thriving and rising as well to the bar. First is not negotiating with people who are corrupt. not negotiating with people who are found guilty of doing something. Something of the sort needs 5 term or maybe 5 years in jail, 3 months, or something else. It could be done. A policy can be made that prevents such people from accessing any, probably any relevant or any service that that could burden the country. You know, in as much as that we're willing to work out ways to end corruption and even lament cases of corruption, we really have to work in tandem. It is not something of an individual, a state, NCIC, EACC, or any other group. It's about every Kenyan and every national, or even every citizen, every patriot, and every individual in this world to stand out, not to be corrupt. And we should really start creating awareness of corruption. And then way much more important is to live in a free, no corruption, like, let me say there is no corruption, a freely governed country with freely elected members or maybe delegates of members who are not corrupt. In contrast with what we see is many people governing as corrupt, many people taking these high seats are corrupt, and it really gives them a space to continue having such proceedings going again and again. And even, court cases are now even postponed further and further to give them time to keep things together and have to negotiate and at some point wash away all that we believe guilty mind, guilty action, and it washes away all the corruption against them. Imagine of someone stealing 10 million. That's a corrupt person, or even 10 billion. And then when taken to court, is granted bail of 10 million, which is very much less. And this person is left roaming around using the other 10 billion plus, 10 or 9 billion plus. It is really saddening. It is really unfortunate for a country living in such states, and we still saying we are developing. Of course, we really need to fight corruption to get better and better and better. The other thing is about this generation that is coming. All I call for is peace. We really have to be peaceful. We really have to make our voices heard in a way that you should understand that this time round it is not you in the ballot, it is Kenya in the ballot, it is peace in the ballot, it is economy in the ballot, it is reclaiming the hope of Kenyans in the ballot. Building better agendas for Kenya is in the ballot. And you have to put peace first, democracy first, and make out leaders or bring out leaders who are going to facilitate Kenya from where it is now and skyrocketing it further than we can imagine in the 5-year terms or even the 100 days of transformation that we've seen or we've been promised. So we really need to think twice, even think thrice, and even really have to understand which score do we need to move, or in chess, whoever moves fast, is likely to win, because he watches what or where he moves next to, so that he can counter and as well protect himself. We also have to think in that way. We really have to vote now, and vote in a way that we are believing in our vote, believing that our democratic rights have been exercised, and ensuring that we bring on board good leaders for transformation, for change, for another epitome of probably any other thing that we believe in, that we are hopeful to see the next few days, probably 50 days or less. The other thing is following the rule of law. We've seen many people have contempt of court. This is the values that we get from these other people. And looking forward, we wish to see people who are developing ways of believing in the rule of law, that no one is above the law, whether you're president, whether you are whoever who you are. We really have to sit into our limits. We can't wear a shoe that is way too squeezing or too big for us. We really have to make a fitting shoe for our rule of law, that everyone fits in. Everyone is, rule of law. Everyone should be flexible to accept that let the spirit or let the rule of law to thrive and to guide us in whatever that we're doing. Let it not be that we have to hear from someone that this is what should be done, and yet we understand, we know this. Let us participate in promoting rule of law together in tandem. I believe we're going to achieve it. We're going to make a productive nation, and a nation that believes in the constitutional frameworks or laws and policies that govern us, and believe that we are under the law. The other thing is climate change. With different, at some point I could quote a certain singer, artist, who said, you are unpredictable, just like this weather. Probably what they mean is the weather is so unpredictable, the climate has changed in a way that we really have to take time to understand it and to build new frameworks that govern our climate. So we really have to think out of the box of how we protect our environment and how we really have to chip in if it is as well as profitable as planting trees. It is very much possible. Some say deforestation is also helping. Of course, it helps when you believe you have something else to accompany what you're doing. If you have to grow plants, we really have to ensure that our climate is really not changing so fast. We really have to put in people, at the forefront of what we believe in. People comes first in climate change because of very much more economic activities that are across the nation, across the country, across even the globe of what other countries do. We could see spillages, we could see emissions, many countries with advanced technologies are releasing emissions to the atmosphere, and that is causing a change that is quite unbearable. Then we could see our economic activities being tampering with what we see in day-to-day lives. For instance, our lakes, our rivers are now not in good state because of our economic activities. The fertilizers that we use and inappropriately. Let me say, we are also practicing what we don't believe in. We are not ensuring that we follow the regulations of what we need to drop to water, what we need to get to large body or reservoirs. Let me say, for instance, throwing bottles and any other plastic into water is going to kill our ecosystem that we believe in, the water ecosystem, or even killing other species of animals which we could store even to generations to come. So imagine we've continuously been losing species in lakes because of our economic activities, our ways of handling the environment, ways of handling our trash, and even not throwing things or even recycling them to ensure that we don't have them. And at some point, we really need to do away with all these plastics. But it is quite unlike for people with different mindsets to believe in this. And we really have to come out and tell them what we need to do, what we really need to value as our climate is getting intense again and again. So in all our, there are many conferences that have been put in place to ensure that people are given a more awareness and a clear know-how of what should be done to our environment. And I'm really looking forward to sharing much more and getting much more for our sustained development and keeping our climate under siege. The other thing is the value of our nation in advancing into different levels. I believe that as a nation, if we could a little bit adjust in our teamwork, working in tandem, ensure that we are collaborating, we are making things count as a nation in whatever that we participate in, whether it is a public policy, coming up with a policy for the government, even for the country, giving acts and even passing legislations for the country. We really need to look forward of what we have to gain even after passing all these legislations. And probably if we're going to do that, we're going to achieve more success, have a country with no feuds, with no vendettas, no personal conflicts, and then this will spur economic growth and even development. Building standard goals, developmental goals that are seeking to see our visions come through, our missions get into action, and then our mandates are generally equal to the task, and believing that we can do much more. If we can believe in that, we can really move forward. We can really achieve irreducible success. And inclusively, we are going to do this together again and again. And I believe that again. The value of youth empowerment is also coming in place. It should also ensure that if at all the youth needs to, not if at all, it is now really very necessary for the youth to occupy space in our governments, in our systems of governance, in our counties or national levels of government, and in even ministry. We really have to see youth being elected or maybe appointed to this position so that we can also feel that we are part and parcel of this government, we are part and parcel of what we believe in, and we are going to sit on the decision tables to make decisions of our fellow youth and not other people, of course not the youth, making decisions for us. It has happened again and again, and we believe that this has to come to be brought to a period to which we are never going to see that happen. While we are here, we have eyes, we have sound mind, everything. So we really need to be given a chance to actively participate and necessitate what we value as a country and as a nation to acquire reducible growth. So probably having the youth in different positions could also help us understand that in all that we do as the youth, we are recognized and we have a voice for the nation. And we have a voice that is going to be seen and a voice that is going to be heard. And close to believing in that is the idea of empowering the youth. This is a kind of achievement the government should really look forward to sustain the youth, first from talent mainstreaming, secondly to helping those who are vulnerable. Vulnerable, I talk of those who are weak, people with disabilities, young women, and young youth who are subjected in many other issues across these contemporary issues that we might have come across with. And then we also have to ensure that we are bringing out SMEs that could help young innovators, young entrepreneurs, even young business ladies and businessmen to advance in their fields of selection. So probably if we have a young entrepreneur and he or she has identified a gap and she or he needs to fill that void, then what is the need of watching them suffer, and yet we have a government to at least support us, give us their back, and we give them our back to ensure the backup is helping us thrive and achieve our goal and our success. So I really wish to urge us that we should be generating a lot of knowledge and information and things that could see our country thrive in this, as I told you, dynamic world that changes like any other weather could change. So we need to be flexible and to know that there are various random effects that could face us in the near future. And we need to be prepared in a way that we, at some point, we are not eaten up in how much extent, then we are prepared. Preparedness comes in a way of emergency, and we need to put our equipment ready to fight any random effect. And of course, all those that we can, those that are not random, those that we cause for ourselves, those that are human-made, probably a poor decision. We have to ensure we minimize the rate at which human mistakes are affecting the country than random effects, because it is rare for such to happen, and we can never prepare adequately to fight random effects and fighting human errors and some other negligences. Probably again we should value our constitution. This is what we believe in, this is what we should follow, this is what is termed in our system of government, and probably this is our mandate as a youth, and even as those willing to work together to make the world great. It is high time we make our world great and achieve most of our alternative set of goals, and even our prioritized goals. I believe in one nation, I believe in a strong foundation, and as we say, we believe in one God, we believe in one Allah, we believe in one Lord. We also believe in the same things that guides and governs our countries and our world. So we have to stay true. We have to keep our minds ready to receive and formulate other policies, other mindsets, and other thoughts that could really see our country moving forward. We really need to be prepared to take action and to continuously rise above the occasion and to make the world count on us. Lastly, I wish to say that as a nation of the youth, we really need to value each of our voices. As one could be assertive, one could be turbulent. We really need to make our country youthful engagement that is manageable, governable, which is centralized in one thing and believes in that one goal and is passionate to achieve that goal. Before we strategize on doing some other things, let us also believe that we are the panacea of hope in our country, in our world, and in our nations at large. And we should emulate what is good and avoid what is bad, to avoid erroneous mistakes again. Beyond that, I've to admit that without fear of contradiction, we're going to achieve greater success if we put our hands together if we join our hearts, and if we avoid racism, we avoid nepotism, we avoid tribalism, we avoid corruption, we avoid any source of irrelevant mindset and thinking, so that we can think of the positiveness of what these values are going to cause and the impact to our nation. And really have to manage what we believe in, what actions we need to take to ensure we are rising to the bar that we've fallen short of. However, I wish we could continue sharing, we could continue having such engagement, and please do. We can really make an impact once we get to where we belong, where we really need to sit back and say we are doing something, and this is our mandate, this is our schedule, this is what we are working against, or we are working at. We really need to set standards for ourselves and ensure that we are achieving them again and again, each day, each time, and each hour that we are setting them. And without ceasing, believing that we can work together in this journey, and we can work as a brother, as a sister, as a mom, as a dad, as a grandma, or grandpa, to see our country eliminates cynicism, poverty, improving GDP and economy, and of course, all that we believe is not rightfully right for us. And we have to work extra hard to build back a better story. Finally, before I conclude, I also wish to tell you that you can find us at our page, our Facebook page at ObbyPressF, on Twitter at ObbyPressF, YouTube at ObbyPressF, any other place, LinkedIn at ObbyPressF. For me, you can find me at Brian Matara, 1, on Twitter at Brian Matara, on Instagram at Brian Matara, Facebook is the rest at Brian Matara. Wish you well, I wish you success in all that you do.